Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into a really fascinating stock market event and break down the anatomy of a massive price move.
So picture this. It's December 23rd, and one company's stock just explodes. We're talking a jump of over 8% in a single day. I mean, that's a huge move by any standard. So you gotta ask, what on earth just happened to Clearwater Analytics, ticker symbol CWAN? Is this just some random blip on the screen, or is it the start of something way bigger? All right, let's break down the evidence and see what we can find.
Okay, first things first, let's look at the event itself. You know, analysts are throwing around the term decisive breakout for this one, and you're about to see exactly why.
So check this out. The stock didn't just climb a little. No, it absolutely shattered a price ceiling that had been capping it between 22 and 22.50, and it closed right near the top of its range for the day. That's a telltale sign of some serious buying pressure.
All right, time to play detective. Let's hunt for our first clue by looking at the bigger picture, the underlying trend. Was this just a one-day wonder for Clearwater Analytics, for CWAN, or is there something way more significant brewing just under the surface?
Now, to get a handle on the trend, analysts have this great tool called the Simple Moving Average, or SMA for short. The best way to think about it is like this. It smooths out all the choppy, day-to-day price noise so you can see the real underlying current of where the stock is headed.
And would you look at that, at over 24 bucks, Clearwater Analytics, that CWAN, is now trading way above both its key 50-day and 200-day moving averages. Folks, this is what you call a classic, textbook bullish alignment.
But the real story here, the one you really want to pay attention to, is that 200-day SMA. For a lot of traders, when a stock pushes firmly above that long-term line, it's like a giant, flashing sign that the tide is officially turned. It suggests a whole new, positive long-term trend could be starting right now.
Okay, clue number 2. Let's see how this story builds. It's one thing for a stock to be in an uptrend, right? But the real question is, how much power is actually behind this move? Let's try and measure the force. To do that, analysts pull out another tool, the Relative Strength Index, or RSI. And this thing is basically a speedometer for the stock. It tells us exactly how fast the price is moving and in which direction.
And get this, the RSI for Clearwater Analytics for CWN clocked in at a blistering 72.87. That is not just cruising along, my friends. That is putting the pedal to the metal. Now, a number that high puts the stock in what traders call overbought territory. And this is interesting. It's kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, yeah, it confirms there's incredibly strong buying momentum. But on the other hand, it's kind of like a warning light on your dashboard, suggesting the stock might need to pull over for a quick rest, maybe a short-term pullback.
So, to get a second opinion, let's look at another tool. This one's called the MACD. It also measures momentum, but it does it in a slightly different way, which is great for helping us confirm what the RSI is hinting at.
And yep, the MACD for CWN is just flashing green all over the place. The main MACD line is above its signal line, and the histogram, well, it's expanding. What does that mean? It means bullish momentum isn't just strong, it's actually accelerating. It's getting even stronger.
Okay, let's recap. The trend looks great. The momentum looks incredibly strong. But here's the million-dollar question, right? Is there real money behind this move, or is it just a few traders messing around? Time to follow the money.
Whoa! The trading volume here tells a pretty dramatic story. On the day of the breakout, more than 99 million shares of Clearwater Analytics, of CWAN, changed hands. That is almost 7 times the volume from the day before. We're not talking about a trickle here. This is a full-on flood.
Volume like this is a huge, huge tell. This isn't just your average person buying a few shares. No way. This is the footprint of the big players. We're talking pension funds, mutual funds, the institutions. They're the ones buying into the stock in a major way.
All right, so we've looked at the trend, we've checked the momentum, and we've followed the money with the volume. After looking at all these clues, what's the final verdict on Clearwater Analytics, on CWAN, from a purely technical point of view?
Well, the analysis really points to 2 possible paths from here. You've got the bullish case, which says this incredibly powerful breakout, backed by all that volume, has enough juice to keep going, maybe even push towards its 52-week high. Then you have the bearish risk. The idea that those overbought signals are right on the money and the stock is just due for a breather.
So for anyone watching this stock, the number one thing to watch out for is something called a fake out.
That's the main risk here. It's when a huge, powerful move like this suddenly slams into reverse, trapping all the buyers who just jumped in near the top. Ouch.
So, based on all this, the report lays out a pretty clear game plan. If you're already holding the stock, it's all about protecting those gains. If you're thinking about getting in, maybe a little patience is in order. Wait for a better entry point. And for everybody, that $23 level, that's now the critical line in the sand that everyone's going to be watching.
And that leaves us with one final thought. We've just taken apart what looks like a technically perfect breakout for Clearwater Analytics, CWAN. You've got the trend, the momentum, the volume, everything is pointing in the same direction. But it raises that one crucial question that every single investor has to ask themselves. In the market, when a picture looks this perfect, is it ever really a guarantee?